I love horror. I am actually doing this intro for the second time because I feel the first time I messed it up too much. I don't think there's anything in this world that can truly explain how much I am in love with internet horror specifically. Ever since I had watched Marble Hornets, I had gotten obsessed, and I know about it all. You could probably quiz me, but I would know about everything, from obscure channels like SNCH to more frequently uploaded like Mandela Catalog and everything in between. Local 58, people who cover it like Nightmind, and YouTubers who cover it who don't get nearly enough attention like Rainbot and Goose Boose. Honestly, go check out Goose Boose. Goose Boose is literally a king. I need him to get more attention. So I've been wanting to try my hand at being a YouTuber for a while, and loving horror content, though it not being my first choice of something I'd really make, I just jumped head first and decided to do it anyway. Now originally this video was going to be reviewing 3 different pieces of horror individually, though with me taking my long ass time and, just general confusion, I decided to make a review on Beckett Wagner only, and leave the other 2 channels as shoutouts rather than, being part of the main video. You see, originally this video was going to be promoting 3 YouTube channels. All 3 of these channels I thought weren't getting enough attention. The first one being Morley Grove, created by Remy Abode, the creator of Gemini Home Entertainment himself, debuting with an entire new series, which is currently on hiatus, sadly, but is honestly just peak, not getting enough attention, genuinely deserves a lot more. And another one called ASL, created by a creator called Spencer Lackey, who you've probably seen on TikTok before. Now, the reason the original video was scrapped was because I just didn't have enough to say about it, and because, well, other creators had already done better. Right before I even wanted to talk about Morley Grove, Nightmind made a video on it, explaining everything that there is up until now, and, well, I'm not gonna talk Nightmind, I can tell you that. Another one, the ASL by Spencer Lackey, was one I just found and then was completely covered by a YouTuber named Rainbot. She is fucking amazing. Go check her out. She also does not get enough attention. Now, having those 2 out of the way, Beckett Wagner was the only one that didn't get enough coverage, and I felt instead of being a content thief and just kind of like regurgitating ideas that had been already put out there by people way smarter and way more talented than me, why not just talk about an energy no one else had talked about and try to get some traction for it, even though I have no fucking traction myself. Now, there are going to be a lot of mistakes in this video, me messing up lines, editing being sloppy and weird, and just in general a lot of bad shit, and that's because 1, I don't script my videos, and 2, I've just started out in this. I know that, new YouTubers are often called out for their stupid bullshit, and I'm jumping headfirst into something I have never done before, but I genuinely do want to improve, and I would be very happy to hear your criticism in the comments if you have any at all. And, yeah, let's just get right into it, shall we? Now, before talking about the first video, I feel I just want to say I watched this with Google subtitles, thinking that, maybe it'll pick up on something that I don't. It was fucking useless. A lot of weird shit. Don't use subtitles. The first video throws us right into the thick of it with our main character, who I'm just gonna assume is Beckett Wagner himself. We can see Beckett walking in a Massachusetts high school, as at least that's what we're assuming, because of the name of the video, found in a long unused basement of a Massachusetts high school. What? Beckett immediately goes into an elevator and awkwardly talks to the camera, giving off very similar vibes to Alan Tutorial, where he's kinda just saying words for the sake of saying them. That sounds like something. After entering the elevator and reaching the room with 4 doors and chairs in the middle, Beckett tries his best to try and open every door, but all of them are locked. All of them except for one. Opening the single open door, he reveals a long, dark hallway, with an exit sign above the door he just opened. Now, funnily enough, at this point you can also see that he actually opens an exit door behind him in the room with 4 doors, but that door is closed, which is kind of odd, because why would a, exit door be locked? Anyway, despite his better judgment, Beckett decides to go into the long door, the long hallway. Fuck, I can't talk, I'm worse than goddamn Goose Boose. Also, shout out to Goose Boose, he's pretty cool. Anyway, upon entering the long-ass dark hallway, he tries some doors, and, as per usual, they're all locked. Inside the classrooms of glass doors, you can see a bunch of, music equipment, like a synthesizer, and the wall, the the roof panels are all loose and there's like wires and shit, and you can see no one's been here long. One of the classrooms has this note on it that says unavailable until further notice or something similar to that effect, and you can see it's like all watered up and stuff. Whilst leading us through the dark hallway, you can also hear Beckett just awkwardly, like frantically talk, like rambling effectively. He just says a bunch of stuff and calls out a bunch of stuff like, oh, there's a trash can, and it's like, you can hear he's on discomfort. Eventually, he reaches the end of the hallway of like this C-shaped thing with another exit door that is yet again locked. As he is going back to the door he entered from, you can hear noises sounding like distant bells. These are very creepy and very much did not, they put me on the edge of my seat, alright? I'm a little bitch boy. I watched this in the dark. Upon getting out of there as quickly as he can with his CBS flashlight, Beckett immediately tries the elevator, only to see that it doesn't work. This is where shit starts getting real, as the elevator won't work no matter what Beckett does. He continuously tries to get it to go up, not even to a specific floor at one point, and it sounds like the elevator's moving, but he just keeps coming back to the ground floor, and it is shit. Eventually, Beckett puts down the camera, saying that he can't stop filming as the camera is the only thing giving him his time, and he's afraid that he's going to be late for check-in, and he's going to get in trouble. He sits in the room with 4 doors and tries the elevator multiple times, even trying the emergency button, but nothing is working, and he is getting progressively more and more frantic. You can genuinely hear the panic in his voice as he talks to the camera, like he has throughout the entire video, just getting slowly and progressively worse and worse. Like, you genuinely feel like this man has claustrophobia, and he is... yeah, you feel for him. He tries all 4 doors in the room again, and they're all locked, obviously except for the long, dark hallway room, which he very reluctantly goes into eventually. He very much did not want to. Upon entering, he tries every door again inside that little hallway, and none of them work, as before. But now, upon walking back, the door he entered the hallway from is locked. This freaks Beckett out very heavily, as the camera's battery is starting to die, and his flashlight is starting to dim. He frantically walks up and down, trying any door, and you can hear the heavy breathing and panic in his voice as he continues to speak. He talks about how he's going to be in trouble and how his parents are going to yell at him, and at some point even mentions the name Tyler. Now, as he continues on through this endless abyss of darkness and shit, his flashlight dies, and those noises that he heard earlier are, well, getting progressively louder. Like, it's genuinely scary hearing these noises come every single now and then because you don't know when to expect them, and you can genuinely hear the main character just start to lose his shit. Eventually, his flashlight does die, and the camera is near its death. He sees something moving under the exit door he entered the hallway in, but as he knocks on the door for anyone to help, no one answers and no one opens. He gets frantic as shit as he just kind of lingers around the exit door, I'm assuming, because the entire screen goes dark at this point. Anyway, and you can hear the noises getting very loud. Like, as in, very loud. Like, right next to the fucking camera loud. Beckett now becomes silent, and things are getting really shit real. In the dark, you can hear his heavy breathing, and before anything happens, you just see the camera's battery signal. The camera is about to die at the 18-minute mark, and Beckett is probably about to die with it. Now, this is an effectively perfect first episode. Not only does it reveal some very interesting premise that goes against any other analog horror we've seen recently, but it's just really unsettling. It's a slow burn kind of effect, and the 18 minutes just, you feel it, man. It feels like one of those early ghost hunting YouTube videos, but with like a really shitty dark twist. The sounds are also very different. Instead of being some groaning or moaning, you could assume it's just something from the building, but at the same time, your brain is obviously trying to make you think that that's not it. Now, like I said, Beckett awkwardly talks to the camera, and I guess it helps him calm down or whatever, and he does it constantly throughout the video, and a lot of it's just kind of rambling, but some important things I guess right now to note, or put a pin in, would be obviously the name Tyler, and yeah, that's about it. Another interesting thing to note, at least for me, is that this video has no description, which is also kind of different from normal other horror videos and ARGs of today. they usually have a description that helps very heavily with understanding the video. Kind of like, Midwest Angelica, where every description is just kind of like a very big insight into the video itself. This video, the first one, found in a long unused basement of Massachusetts High School, can also be considered, that this was found in that basement. That the video you're watching and the camera it was on was found in the basement, meaning that Beckett probably did meet an unfortunate end. Also, now realizing that this probably wasn't Beckett, but I'm just gonna call him Beckett to fake you all out, because I think that's funnier and it makes you think less, because if you didn't watch the series, then you wouldn't have known. Anyway, next video. Wow, I gotta stop doing Number 2, Security Flaws, opens with a new character talking about a secret tunnel under the school. He tells us that he has heard rumors of it, and the reason he has a camera with him today is because he is going to find it. And after exploring his little what is this, art room? Is this an art room? He sees a utility closet and enters. He mentions that the underground tunnel that everyone's been telling him about was apparently locked off 15 to 20 years ago. Upon entering the utility closet, he sees many doors and a very ominous hallway, almost scarier than the one in the fucking first video. Holy shit. He walks down the creepy hallway with a flickering light at the end of it and turns on a flashlight, immediately giving me PTSD. As he reaches a very dark room, he shows a light on a fucking cabinet with like an old CRT writer on it, and then something catches his eye, and he reveals to us that there is an elevator behind it. Oh, fuck. He starts moving stuff aside to reveal the elevator, and a chair falls, and I'll admit this scared the living shit out of me. I genuinely jumped. Yet again, I'm a baby, and I watched this in the fucking dark. Okay, don't mock me. He reveals that the elevator is locked and the button doesn't work, but he has a screwdriver, and fucking mechanic over here is gonna use it to, push the screwdriver in a hole and open the elevator. What the shit? I didn't even know he could do that. That's pretty cool. Also, we can see here that he's on the 2nd floor, so that's, I guess, kind of interesting to know. Also, I feel yet again a good time to mention this character, whilst talking less to the camera, still talks a lot to the fucking camera. He continuously just kind of talks about, oh man, I should probably move this stuff first. I'm going to push the screwdriver in there. I should not look at the camera. I should look at the real life. He says super relatable shit, and that's how honestly, another reason I really like the series is that everything just feels real. The characters and the way they talk don't feel scripted or forced, but rather just like, a amateur YouTuber making a video about exploring a rather creepy place. I really gotta start learning how to speak into the camera. Why am I not scripting this? Upon fiddling around a bit, he finally opens the elevator door in utter shock because he didn't think it would work, and then shows that the elevator is on the 1st floor and he can just step down. Which, holy shit, I don't know who created the series, but well done, dude. Dude or dudette, how did you guys get permission to film in these places, or didn't you? Or is this not even fake? Maybe this is real. Oh, fuck. He presses a button, making the elevator work again, and calls it up. Upon climbing in, we get to see some pretty interesting stuff. First off, a red carpet. A really red carpet. What the fuck? Now, I'm not sure if this was in the first one, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but there are also handprints on the side of the elevator. And I don't mean on the outside, I mean on the inside. What the fuck? Paying close attention to the buttons, you can also see that there are 2 pieces of blue tape over 2 buttons. I'm assuming probably the ground floor for obvious reasons. Our main character, being the genius he is, pulls off both pieces of blue tape and reveals that it is a basement visual arts button, which has been completely smashed the fuck in. Our main character presses the button and walks through a little maintenance area and through an exit door, and it's the 4 doors room. Fuck. There we can see that there is actually a separate elevator, and he entered through the exit door, which the first character, Beckett, couldn't get through. But this is actually Beckett, though, I promise. I'm not goofy. He turns on his flashlight for the dark room and tries the elevator, which doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. He looks around and sees the door to the long dark hallway with caution tape on it. Upon asking the most basic bitch questions about the security tape ever, he tries to open every door, and obviously they're all locked. He then looks at the door he came from and comments that obviously it's open, he just came through there. After having a little chat about if the things in there are asbestos, only to realize that they're obviously not asbestos because it's only been like 15 years, you dumb twat. He does a dumbass move because he's a main character in a fucking horror movie, technically speaking, and opens the door with security tape on it, you know, like a normal human fucking being. On entering, he comments on how dark it is, like a fucking dimwit, and turns on his flashlight. Well, off and on, and then it flickers. Oh man, no. He moves through the hallways, looking through every door, just like our previous character did, seeing that everyone is locked, and upon seeing the first door, you can actually see that there are a few pages, like, on the tables and on a chair and shit, which make me think that these buildings were quite fairly being used every day before they got locked off for some reason, which is pretty interesting. He walks down the hallway, gets scared by his own reflection like a dumb bitch, only to see that one of the doors before you turn the corner is open. Like this. Oh no. Upon entering what is effectively a music room, which is kind of funny considering the room was labeled visual arts. Whatever. He sees a drum set and a dinosaur.
Oh wow, look at that fucking dinosaur. Jesus Christ.
I guess, I don't know. I think he's fucking hallucinating. What he really sees is a Windows XP computer, which he for some reason thinks is a fucking, pterodactyl. He wipes his fingers over the drum set, and I get PTSD from fucking J.K. Simmons telling me I'll never be as good as the fucking former drummers who came before me. All the PTSD is coming back. It's like whiplash. Upon exploring a little bit more, he sees a USB lying on the table, and it has some writing on it. He picks it up and reads it out to say, basement evacuation draft 10 to 11. Or 11 to 10. He can't quite make it out because the text is faded, and I fucked it up because I hadn't watched these videos in a long time, and I'm a goddamn moron. He hears some creepy noises, and, they're not bells, but they are definitely odd. He exits the room, expecting around, and sees nothing. Obviously being creeped out, he walks to the end of the hallway, the other exit door, and it doesn't open. And, well... He goes back and closes the door to the room he was just in, the exact way he found it, and then gets the living shit scared out of him by the sound of music in the distance. Oh, I don't like this. He immediately tries the other exit door again, and obviously, it does not work. Much like our last character, we can hear him breathing frantically and getting more and more impatient. He, for some reason, goes back into the room he was just in, talking about how everything is creepy, old as shit, and that he's leaving. And as he's going through the hallway again, we hear the sound of rattles, getting progressively louder and louder. He then hears the sound of clanging and takes his screwdriver out to protect himself. And as the clanging gets really fucking loud again, like as in right next to him, he dashes for the door. What happens next is the camera glitching out and us only getting a few frames of more information. Of him running, him throwing his hand at something, and then probably his arm full of blood. It then cuts away and the video ends at 14 minutes. This video, much like the last one, has no description, though it did come out significantly later in April instead of October 22, and got obviously significantly less views. The second video is, in my opinion, a lot better. I feel the pacing is a lot better and the main character is, less time wasty. I like the environmental storytelling with the caution tape, and I do genuinely like the idea of the stick, though I don't understand why he didn't take it with him, that I would. Also, I do like the idea of all the musical instruments being what the people hear when they're down in the basement. It's kinda creepy and ominous, and I want an explanation as to what the fuck. Also, I do genuinely like how the characters in these videos get scared by the shit around them, like the noises of the pipes flowing or a chair falling. It makes it feel more real, and gives cheap jump scares that I get scared of because my little baby bit. Also, yeah, I lied. This isn't Beckett Wagner either. I'm just gonna keep doing that because I think it's funny. Now, this video doesn't really tell us much about the overarching plot, except that obviously there's something in that basement that people don't want to be around, and it probably traps you in and kills you. Also, I don't understand why our main character in the second video didn't try to escape like the first one did. I guess his fight was stronger than his flight or something. I don't know. The third video, a student explores his high school basement, starts up in May 26 of 2023 and has no description. It's also only 12 minutes long, and we can see a progressively easy change in all of the videos, where every single video starts becoming shorter and shorter. First one being 18, the second one being 14, and now this one being 12 minutes. Also, something else that's kind of interesting that I think I should probably mention right now is that all these different videos are actually labeled differently from what I've been calling them. The first video we talked about was actually 0, the second video was actually video 1, and the third video, the one we're talking about right now, is actually video number 2. Even though it has worse audio quality, our main character of this video says that he walks past an elevator on his way to class every single day, and it's bothering him. Fuck. He says that he's on the top floor even though there's an up button, so, you know, that was kind of weird. And he explains that he thinks he might have a way to get into the elevator. He explains that he has an elevator master key, or at least, you know, the elevator maintenance key, and he plans on using it. He goes back down to the first floor and uses the key on the door, and to his surprise, it opens. Fuck. He looks around the room for a bit, turning on the lights, and there's not a lot to it. He finds the switch, turns it on, and hopes that it'll turn on the elevator. And wouldn't you know it, upon entering the elevator, we can see that it has a way different button system from the first one we saw, and obviously, because, you know, it's on this channel, he clicks the basement button. I also want to mention this character is much like the first character we saw in the 0 video, talking a lot to the camera and just generally stating fun facts, like, you know, like he has a key, and it actually opened, and like they have a basement. Upon opening the door, he talks about how he's gonna get fucking suspended, much like the characters that came before him. As he enters the 4-door room, you know, the very same, he sees that the tape on the door is down, and, you know, this is the same elevator from the 0 video. So, that's great. He sees the doors, tries to open one, and then his attention is drawn to the caution tape door. Being the main character in a horror movie, or effectively the same shit, he just decides, oh, maybe it'll be a good idea to go in there. Actually, nah, maybe it won't, and then he walks back to the elevator, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he literally says, and I quote, fuck it, you only live once, and then he goes into the goddamn door. Upon entering the dark hallway we're all probably too familiar with, he immediately turns on his flashlight, and before even reaching the first door, sees a shoe on the floor, probably belonging to whoever played in video number 1, and, you know, met his untimely die time. Kind of funny, the main character here does actually comment, who loses a fucking shoe? I don't know, that caught me off guard. Upon walking a little bit further, he sees the place where the door was open before, and a bunch of chairs move around, and the trash can and sign kicked over. And then he sees something that scares the shit out of him. A dead house centipede. What? Yeah, he ignores, like, I think bloodstains and just looks at, like, the dead house centipede. Which, I mean, is kind of interesting. In video 0, you can actually see, I think, a house centipede walking next to one of the guy's feet. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. Maybe they have something to do with the story. I don't know, I just kind of found it funny seeing all this creepy shit. It's like, oh, fucking, I've said it. Also, I just relate to this character the most. the amount of swearing he does compared to the rest of the cast is just, it's totally what I would be like. He goes to the end of the hallway to see a fallen tile on the floor, which is kind of odd, because, you know, that hole in the roof's been there the entire time, but that fallen tile has not. He tries the exit door, which yet again does not work, and then comments that he's gonna leave, but first wants to check out the open door room, the same one from the fucking last video, goddamn. Upon entering, he sees a few floppy disks lying on the table, and searches around the room. Something he doesn't acknowledge is that one of the drum sets appears to have blood splattered on it. That's creepy. He goes over to the piano and just presses down on a few keys for shits and giggles, and then some creepy ass noises come from the hallway behind him. This prompts him to get scared and want to leave. He rants about house centipedes whilst approaching the door he entered the hallway from, and much like the rest, it doesn't open, and much like the characters who came before him, he starts entering his frantic panic mode. Holy shit, we know what's coming. Obviously, he frantically walks back, and actually having a smart idea, decides to try and use the master key that he used to get into the elevator room to enter the maintenance room. But the key doesn't work. He then pulls one of the funnier moments and pulls the fire alarm, and it doesn't work. And he just stares at the fire alarm for like a solid 5 seconds in silence, and I couldn't help but laugh. Just, oh my god, that's comedic timing, dude. Fuck. He frantically runs back to the music room only to not find anything and hear a drumming noise slowly getting louder. This freaks the shit out of him, so he tries to go back to the exit door, the one he entered the room from, but it doesn't open, and he screams, "Hello, can anyone hear me?" Only to be followed by the same rattling noises that we heard in the last video. Not really knowing what to do, he walks back to the music room, only to hear drumming, like a banging against the wall. He looks down and sees a house centipede run past his feet, and the banging progressively gets louder, and louder, and louder. He runs towards the exit door, which, to his dismay, goes open, and he clicks on the elevator, staring back to see the door just like, he swung open, slowly closing. The camera then cuts to black, and we cut to him on the floor, on his side, bleeding. So not only did we not catch anything, but, you know, when we finally thought a character might have had a better chance, he still died. Much like the other videos, there weren't any descriptions, but the ending did have something interesting. The crackling noises. It's kind of like something eating on his flesh. Which, what the fuck? This video isn't much different from the rest, and honestly, I feel it does what the other two tried doing the best. Its pacing feels a lot better, and it builds off of what the other two videos had already built up perfectly. I like the idea that this guy is just like, not even really in the mood for any of this, and might have even had a chance to survive, but then just got fucked. Up till this point, we still don't know what could be doing all this and killing everyone who comes down here, because it's just, there's so many possibilities. The crackling noises at the end of the video, you know, making the idea that there could be something eating these people, just means that there has to be a monster, which doesn't make any sense, because how would it be locking the doors? Which doesn't make any sense also, because, you know, what the fuck are all those drumming noises and shit? Not only does this series already have me fucking collapsed to my fucking edge of my seat with, like, no effort at all in the 3rd episode, but it's already making me ask questions that I don't have answers for. This is what, in my opinion, analog horror should be. This is a feeling that I have missed in very many moons, and I love it. Now we have a few more videos to go through, so I'm just gonna get on with it, but keep in mind, you know, the spooky shit. And the 4th video in the series, much like, you know, all the rest, starts in a classroom. God damn it. It was uploaded on October 4th of 2023, being almost an entire year, like, you know, an exact year later from video number 1, or, you know, like, the 2nd video. This is very confusing. I should have been more specific. This is the 4th video in the series, but labeled as the 3rd video, called Going Off the Beaten Path. Also, yet again, with no description. Here we go again. Now, this video is significantly shorter than the rest, only being 7 minutes, and more or less starts the exact same. We have our main character, classes are over, he's curious about this door that he's never gone in, he decides to bring a camera and a fucking flashlight, and here we go. Upon entering, he reveals the same room that our character in the 1st video, well, the first, I mean, like, you know, the labeled 1st video. God damn, I really gotta be more specific. He enters the room with lights and a flickering light at the end of the hallway and classrooms to his left, which would obviously be open since the last character opened it. Now you know the gist at this point. He walks through the room, talks about some shit, and then sees the elevator at the end of the hallway. He obviously presses the button and the elevator works, as our last character to use this elevator had made it work. Upon entering, he sees the basement button. Wait here. I'm gonna give you 4 guesses to what the fuck he does, and the first 3 don't count, you ready? What button does he press? You guessed fucking right. Upon pressing the button for the basement, he looks around and sees this, like, little place where a sign is meant to go, and then mentions that every Massachusetts elevator in the high school has, like, a sign saying that this elevator is safe. Though this elevator doesn't have one, which is actually kind of interesting. I like the way in the series how different characters react to the same thing in different ways, pay attention to different things, and honestly, I've gotten, like, more elevator insight from these characters alone than I have in any other situation in my entire goddamn life. Upon entering, he immediately freaks the fuck out at the door closing behind him, knowing that it will lock him in. He then, like every fucking one else, tries the doors around him to see none of them work. You know, like, I know I'm sounding like a broken fucking record here, but like, yeah. You also see something on the floor, though I can't quite make out what it was. Upon seeing it for the first time, I thought it might be a dead body, but that appears not to be the case. Now, rather cleverly, before entering the dark hallway room immediately, he gets a little thingamajig, like a rubber door stopper, puts it in front of the door and makes sure it doesn't close, that way he can reassure that it won't lock behind him. Which, that's like the first time any character's actually gotten, you know, a way out. Also, another thing I found kind of funny, upon entering, he also makes a joke on the shoe, saying someone lost their gym shoe. I just find it funny that every character who's gonna come in here now is gonna make a fucking joke about the shoe. As he continues down the hallway, we get the same scene. Crashed over trash can, pulled fire alarm. So, yeah, you know, at least we know these videos are in chronological order, which is kind of cool. I hate when an ARG tries to make its videos not in chronological order, because that usually just adds another layer of what the fuck comes where. And it's not a bad thing per se, it can honestly add quite a lot to the creeping factor of any given analog horror. But, you know, I just like it being simple for once. I like there being a common tell that you can tell in what order these videos are, you know, being. Also, another thing I want to comment on now, I find it kind of interesting that there are no dead bodies. Where do they all go? Where does the building creature or building itself take them? I don't know. I'm actually kind of very, very fucking curious. And my curiosity gets fucking answered. Upon turning the corner and looking at the exit sign, which we've all seen too many times, he sees blood running from the roof down against the wall. So, you know, so now we probably know where the dead bodies are. Obviously very freaked out by the bloody wall, he runs through the hallway only to slip on the few pieces of paper on the ground with music notes on him. He obviously trips, hurts himself a little bit, but sees his phone. Forgetting that he even had it on him, he tries to call someone and struggles heavily as he runs to the door he came in from, only to see that the rubber doorstop he had put there is gone and the door is closed. This is where, like much of the other characters, he reaches his frantic break-off point and just starts losing his shit. He drops his phone and picks it up again only to see that it's not working anymore, and, like all the rest, with having nothing to do, walks into the middle of the room while still freaking out. He decides that he's going to break down the door and runs back to the door to put the doorstop in. And upon approaching, it looks like there are hairy tentacle thingamajigs coming through it. This might have been what was on the wall earlier, though I was pretty sure it was blood. This is obviously freaky, but also the most we've ever seen from this creature building whatever the frick. I don't want to swear too much. I don't think that's gonna be funny. Anyway, the fucking video ends there, and we are now on to the next one. I don't have much to say about this video, obviously. You know, the labeled third video in the series, actually fourth video, has a lot going on, but also just, oh man, what? There's nothing really new except for the hairy tendril things, and, you know, yeah. Apparently the building knows how to trap you in. Lord. Okay, well, let's go. The labeled fourth, and actually fifth episode in the series was uploaded on February 9th of this year. So, you know, that's pretty cool. That's like a few days before my birthday. Much like the rest, it has no description, and its title reads Student Disappearances. This video, in contrast to the last one, has a runtime of 9 minutes, which is the first time a video has gone up in time instead of down. And yet again, not many views, only standing at 1.6 thousand, which, yet again, is a lot. I'd kill for that amount, but it deserves so much more, dude. Also, I just want to say the top comment for this video was, "Boy has infinite respawns, but can't learn anything from his previous playthrough." I think that's a little funny. Our main character, yet again being a male student, is done with his classes and talks about this elevator that he saw was out of order, but for some reason worked. This is the elevator from the second labeled first video. Upon entering the elevator, our character gives us some insight into why this basement was shut off from the rest of the school, saying that they kept having issues with the plumbing and electricity and decided it would be better to just renovate the upper floors and, just kind of like ditch this place down and like shut off all the elevators and staircases leading to it. He also comments that he's the first one to go down here in like 20 years, which compared to the last characters who said 15 years gives us a pretty good place of where this would take place. Like, if you pay attention to the shadows of every single person in the videos, you can realize that their cameras and the ones, like voice quality and all that shit is getting better. And like, for example, in the last video, we saw someone having a flip phone, which is pretty interesting. Not to mention, for example, the third labeled second video on the channel, someone walks through the caution duct tape, sorry, that took me a while, and when they feel it, they say that it's all like dusty on the other side, so we know that tape was ripped off quite a long while ago, and like, stuff like that. I find it pretty interesting the way this series tells apart how long ago the last person who was in here actually was. Whether it be through characters saying shit like, 20 or 15 years, or whether it be, visual clues like the shoe and, like the tape and how much dust is behind it and stuff like that. This is the first character to waste almost no time to go into their doom. Like, the thing that was on the floor in the last video is gone, but he just sees the tape, immediately opens the door, and as he's walking through talking about like how bad it smells, the fucking door just closes behind him. He doesn't obviously react to the door closing, but, the audience, us knowing what that means, I just found it kind of funny. Like hearing that door slam and just knowing, well, shit, you're screwed. He talks about how dark it is and how warm it is, which makes sense as this is under all the other buildings, and he doesn't make a joke about the shoe. He just says there is an old shoe here. Damn. Guess he's the odd one out. Motherfucker deserves to go. And just to prove my point of, progressing ages, as he walks through and sees one of the locked classrooms, he says that he expected this to happen and learned how to pick a lock on the internet a while ago. He then takes out a paperclip and, well, he opens the door and says that it smells like shit. Upon progressing through the room and looking around for a bit, he can even see papers of the town threatening to turn off the school's water supply just because of how unsafe its pipework is and stuff, which I find that really interesting. Getting more and more reasons for why this place was abandoned is cool, but it's, giving us answers for a question that was like at the very bottom of our list of fucking questions. And much like he's the first one who, got in here the fastest, he's the first one to try and get out the fastest. Because, he hears the creepy noise and tries to exit through the door, only to find that, yippee, it's fucking locked. Here, he reaches his freakout point and just kind of like walks back, trying to keep calm, talking about how he doesn't have his phone on him. As he reaches the door he lockpicked, you can hear something clicking in the background. Well, in the distance, actually. Kind of like someone trying to open a door, which I found to be quite interesting. He lockpicks the door, and upon looking back, hears more clicking. He calls out to whoever's making that noise, and we then hear a loud bang. He closes the door behind him and enters what seems to be a maintenance room. Truly being the most unique character, he doesn't even really explore the maintenance room before climbing on a chair into a hole in the roof, and then just searches around there, I guess. Why? Like, I get that the maintenance room wouldn't have had anywhere else to go, but do you really think the roof is a better place to go? He comments on how the sound seems to be following him and continues on throughout the roof in, quite a bad pattern. He continues on until he sees what seems to be an opening and jumps down it. And around the corner of that opening is a very narrow fucking space that he will have to, crawl through. And, you can hear the reluctance in his voice. He also touches a piece of red tape here, which I don't exactly know what would have said, but obviously definitely tried to stop someone from doing something, and you can see they didn't stop from doing something. Upon finally reaching the end of the crawl space, he's greeted with another goddamn crawl space. He finally reaches the end of the crawl space, literally climbing over pipes at this point, and then hears a very loud bang behind him. It's here where, much like all the other times, the camera cuts away, and we get to see what I think is our main character dead on the floor, and the video ends. Now, the next video is actually, believe it or not, the shortest one in the entire series, coming in at only 7 minutes and 30 seconds, compared to the fourth video, which was 7 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, I don't have a lot to say about the second to last video, except that this definitely was the character to go through the most shit. Like, no other character had tried to run this far away from whatever was chasing them. The labeled 5th and actually 6th video and final video as of the time of this recording is called Growth and Movement. And wow, it's a doozy. Not only does it not have a description, but it was released in June of this year, meaning it was literally like a month ago. Now our main character, yet again being another male student, talks about how classes ended like 6 hours ago or whatever, and he was in the auditorium when he found a way into the secret basement that was labeled off 16 years ago. Now, what I find very interesting about this, compared to what every other character says, is that he doesn't really sound unsure about it. Every other character up until this point always says, oh, like 15 years or like 15 or 20 years ago, but this character is very adamant about it being 16 years ago, walls in front of staircases and elevators being shut down. Now, unlike the other characters who just, use the same elevators and stuff that were open just from beforehand, this guy he found a new way. He opens a door to a storage closet for his music class and sees that there is a, little crawl space in the wall, and he just decides, fuck it, I'm gonna open it, man, because why not? He uses a coin in the screwdriver slots and opens the crawl space to reveal a really dark and long-ass crawl space that I feel very uncomfortable looking at because it makes me feel very spooky inside. He reveals that there are, ceiling whatever the hell tiles on the other side, and if those are ceiling tiles, that means there's a room beneath them, and because he's on the first floor, that would obviously be the basement. He then tries to find a way to get down. Funnily enough, after reaching, an exit through the crawl space, he sees one of those very, rumored of staircases that was locked behind the paywall, effectively. I've been recording for quite a bit, sorry if things are getting incoherent here. He climbs up the staircase, opens the door, and bada bing bada boom, he's in the 4-door room. Or, as I'm probably gonna call it now if I ever make another video on this, the fucking Room of Doom, because holy shit. It's at this point where the same paranoia that the characters suffer from started fucking setting into me. I saw the pipes and thought it was like a ragdoll hanging upside down from the roof, and it got a little jump out of me. I don't know why. He enters the hallway of doom and goes right for the room where so many other characters have lingered and, died. Though something is very different about this room, because when he enters, there's someone standing there. It's J.K. Simmons telling me that I'll never be as good as the drummers who came before me. No, for real though, he just sees a coat hanging from one of the pipes, and it scared the shit both out of me, him, and I'm assuming 90% of the audience. He tries to turn the corner with the other exit room, only to see that the weird hairy tendrils that were there before have grown even longer, creepier. He, obviously without saying anything, turns back and tries to run for the other door. That very same moment of panic strikes when he tries to bash through the door as noises behind him go crazy, this time not even really being something I can describe. What ensues is, in my opinion, the scariest moment in the entire series, and one I'm gonna let play out.
Oh, shit! Fuck! Shit! Fuck my leg! Oh shit! Fuck! Stop! Fuck! Somebody help!
And that was Beckett Wagner. As of recording this video, there are no more videos, and just wow. It's been a while since I've watched an analog horror to truly get me on my seat. The only other ones I can think of as of recent years are ASL, created by Spencer Lackey, and maybe Morley Grove by Remy Abode, obviously. Though I still don't know if those come close to the feeling this one gave me. It felt like something new and genuinely horrifying. So it's time to share my thoughts, and then we can theorize a little bit. Now, unlike other ARGs or analog horrors like Mandela Catalog, where all the answers are just kind of given to you, this very much has so many questions and so few answers. First off, I want to give praise to the series for its horrifying atmosphere. Not only does it nail having the right environment, which honestly I still am very curious on how they got the rights to their film there, but they also just nail environmental storytelling. Having one character die and then leaving their shoe behind, or having one character die and then just, it's perfect. Including the hair, which I don't really get, but honestly still horrifies the living shit out of me. It's so cool, man. I like the progression of every single video and every main character reacting differently to things happening, in the basement. And I also very much like the consistency in how each and every single one of them tries to escape. This series genuinely is one to look out for and has criminally low subscribers and views, considering what it should have. And that includes YouTubers who haven't covered it either. I'm pretty sure Nightmind might even still beat me to making a video about it, but honestly, I needed to talk about it regardless. Beckett Wagner has created some of the most horrifying content I have seen in genuine years, and I don't know how to react to it. Sadly, for every good thing I have to say about Beckett Wagner, I have just as many bad things to say. With the idea of multiple main characters being very interesting, I don't feel it can carry a story. Do it once, and that's alright. Do it twice, that's fine. Do it 3 times, hell, 4 times, I'd even give you a pass for a 5th time. But as soon as you start doing it 6 times in a row and there's not really a big variety, I start caring less and less. Having a disembodied voice, a nameless, faceless character just go into a building and die, and then seeing a repeat of that, but now the environment's a little bit different, that doesn't give me a lot of motivation to keep watching or to really even care anymore. With what this series has, I feel like it makes sense. Beckett Wagner obviously wants to create this series where you see a bunch of main characters going into this one really cool space and showing off everything that they had and what they could do with it. But they're not expanding enough or adding enough variety for me to really care. It doesn't evolve beyond this disembodied voice traveling through a building and then getting killed, and that really sucks. I want to see it evolve past that. Maybe add a video where you can see, like someone making a history on the building's fucking classrooms being abandoned. Make it so that a group of people goes into the college dorm instead of just one. Make it so that there's something new or interesting. Make me ask bigger questions. Make me ask newer questions. Just break the formula you've created and make it a little bit more interesting. Everyone hates when a formula gets oversaturated, and especially with something like Marble Hornets, which went on for way too long in my opinion, a lot of the episodes just feel the same. You're asking new questions, sure, but they're just different versions of the questions you were asking at the start. And there's no more variety. They didn't have the time, budget, or the technology that we have today to expand upon that. For example, Beckett Wagner could make one of those old YouTube imitation type stuff that the first episode of Morley Grove did, where someone talks about the history of this Massachusetts high school and explains why the buildings, were ditched. That could be really interesting, and I would honestly enjoy seeing more of that stuff. Overall, I feel Beckett Wagner has something very interesting here. They're just not doing what they should be doing with it, and are instead just kind of letting it die. Like I said, there's a lot of good here, and there's a lot of room for creative space and to grow, but if episode 6, the one I'm gonna have to wait almost nearly half a year for, is just gonna be the same as the last episode, then I'm not gonna care. I've been scared by the things, I've been scared by the noises, I've seen the hairy tendrils. I need more, and if you're not gonna give more, then your ARG is gonna start to fall. There's a reason why every episode has been getting shorter in length. There's a reason why every episode has gotten less and less views. It's because it's not evolving. It's not keeping an audience, because whilst doing the main character goes into a building and dies thing once is cool, doing it 6 times tends to get a little bit tedious. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong, I still love what Beckett Wagner has here, and I still feel it has a big variety and contrast to what we have in all other types of media and analog horror today. There's still a great amount of analog horror, but stuff like Midwest Angelica and just all that noise gets boring. It's kind of oversaturating something I've already seen and kind of predicted. But the difference is Midwest Angelica, for example, can do something new and experimental that I won't expect. Like, I don't know what the next Midwest Angelica episode's gonna be about, and that's good. I can tell you it's gonna be some TV ad, I can tell you it's gonna be some weird horrifying lab tape of someone dying brutally. And I can be right on both fronts. I can predict that something like that's gonna happen, but I don't know what's gonna happen, and that level of curiosity is what's gonna push me to wait for the next episode to see what they do. And unfortunately, as of right now, Beckett Wagner doesn't have that. If they're gonna release another episode, I can predict that it's just gonna be a new nameless face just walking into a building and getting killed. And that's about it. Overall, I do think that Beckett Wagner deserves more attention. What they've got here is genuinely impressive, horrifying, and could go in a lot of interesting places depending on what the creator decides to do, and I will be supporting them all the way through. I definitely plan on making more videos about this channel if they upload enough videos in the future, so, you know, remind me if I forget. Beckett Wagner has something special going here, and I would love to see more of it. I just really want that variety, you know? This series genuinely is one to look out for and has criminally low subscribers and views, you know, considering what it should have. And that includes YouTubers who haven't covered it either. I'm pretty sure Nightmind might even still beat me to making a video about it, but honestly, I needed to talk about it regardless. Beckett Wagner has created some of the most horrifying content I have seen in genuine years, and I don't know how to react to it. Okay, theorizing time. What the fuck is happening? That's probably the first question everyone should be asking, and if you didn't, then what the fuck is wrong with you? It's very clear something is in the basement, but I don't know what. My first theory would definitely be some fucking horrifying creature lurking in the depths, but I don't like that one all that much. Not only are there very, very few fucking facts, you know, proving me right, but like, there's more facts proving me wrong. If it's just some creature, then how is it closing all the doors? And if it's just some creature, how is it disposing of all these bodies? And what the hell do the hairy tendril things even mean? On top of that, the second theory would be it's the building itself. This is the strongest theory I have at the moment. The weird noises can be explained by that, the reason they ditched it can be explained by that, and, you know, the weird hairy tendril things could also definitely be explained by that. Not only that, but it being the building itself just makes the most sense, especially with the latest video's name being Growth and Movement. Now, I could be wrong, and there could be some hairy tendril creature living in the walls of the basement, which is also genuinely a good theory, but, you know, I don't know. The creature, or whatever the hell the horror in this series is very subjective, and there's not a lot of proof showing to either which one. Like, if I wanted to say it's the building, which could make a lot of sense, there are still pieces of facts that are going against me. Like, if it is the building, why isn't it just killing everything instantly? And, you know, if it's some hairy tendril creature, why do we hear sounds of, like, running and walking and, like, all that noise, you know? Something isn't adding up. Another pretty cool theory could be, I guess, ghosts, but yet again, that wouldn't really explain the hairy tendril things, and I'm pretty sure ghosts can go through walls, bub, so why aren't they killing the people? So, my masterclass big theory here is... I have no fucking clue. Look, I'm not even gonna try and make as if I'm some savant who knows how everything in this series works, because I don't. This is the first time I've genuinely analyzed something like this, to a public audience, and I have no clue. Beckett Wagner is very much one of the more obscure and kind of mysterious fucking, I can't think of another word. Very odd ARG analog horror things that I've covered or seen in ever. There isn't a solid story, the way the videos are formatted are new and refreshing, the horror is actually kind of spooky and creepy, and whilst I think it still has its flaws, I am genuinely interested to see in what direction the series goes. Now, if I did miss anything in any of these videos, I would actually really love if any of you could go and comment and maybe, point some shit out to me. If there are any more episodes in the future, I would genuinely also like to cover them because, I'm kind of a fan now. As far as Beckett Wagner goes, I am completely fine with the upload schedule. Whilst I do feel it's quite few a year, that's honestly okay. People do this out of passion, not out of mandatoriness, and I like that a lot, so... You just keep doing the good work. I don't care how long I have to wait for the next video. I am a Berserk fan after all, and I have already made this joke, goddamn. Anyway, I'm gonna throw you over to Outro Gabriel now with probably, a really creepy scene, so enjoy. As far as closing thoughts on Beckett Wagner as a whole go, I really don't know. Now, I could give you some bullshit explanation on what the series means. I could try and theorize what the hell the monsters are, but I just don't think that will work. And for a multitude of reasons, I just don't think I'm gonna try my hand at it. The truth is, Beckett Wagner is a special series, one that I feel deserves more attention, and one I just really wanted to talk about. Was this video my magnum opus? No. Was it my mystery introduction into the horror world? No. But it is the first video I decided to make on a creepy topic, and I think I did a pretty good job. Now, I'm not saying that Beckett Wagner is some glorious masterpiece that everyone should just love, but I genuinely love seeing different approaches to just modern day horror that have been oversaturated for so long. Overall though, yeah, I have nothing else to say. Beckett Wagner is a genius, and I fully think he deserves the attention that he is not getting. Or, even she. Who knows? It's probably a he, but that's not the point. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This one has taken quite a while to be in the making. The actual filming was all done in one day alone, so you can actually hear the coarseness of my voice as we speak right now. And, the actual editing took super long because I wanted it to be pretty good. Overall, this is my first attempt at a video like this, and I genuinely do plan on improving in so many fronts, and I am so sorry for the bad mic quality, the shitty take on lines, the bad editing, I'm sorry for it all. This is my first attempt at something that I haven't really done ever, and I think it would be pretty cool if I could learn to. So, if you guys have any thoughts on how I could probably improve without, it being like, oh, get a mic, you dumbass. Please, I take criticism. I'm not an asshole. I would enjoy that very much. And yeah, if I haven't at least gotten you somewhat interested in this ARG, sorry. You can expect more content from me in the future. I don't really know how frequently I'm going to be posting, but this video is definitely going to be one of my firsts. So, if I haven't convinced you to go watch Beckett Wagner now, then I'm pretty afraid nothing will ever make you like analog horror, because I am obviously perfect. Good night.